before we start the presentations today, uh, last week what I thought, the entire international trade operations are revolving around two concepts, that is collection and uh, LCs. Collections are governed by ICC regulation URC 522. I have asked you guys to read it over and over, at least 2-3 times before the exam. And I don't know how many people have done that. Then this is a normal practice everywhere. Then UCP also, you have to learn it by heart, right? At least by, if you don't know the things, if you don't know the clarifications, at least you should be able to refer the UCP 600 and get the clarification. Then you should know where to refer, right? So there, because of that, the what I am going to discuss with you is two brand new presentations which I have spent hours and hours last week. I think I have spent more than 20-25 hours to prepare this particular one, right? But it is still not finished. UCP I have gone only halfway. Today morning also I did about 5-6 slides, but again I thought it is better to discuss the both concepts uh, with the students. So at least then you will be clear and you know where to find the thing, and it is easy for you to study. So with that background, we'll start with URC 522, the key concepts. I'm not going to discuss the whole thing. So I request you guys to get your UCP and URC printouts and keep it with you, right? I hope you all are having that. If it is not available with you, majority, about 95% of the people are, I think today they are joining from home. So please go and pick your UCP and URC, right? First the URC, we'll finish the URC and then we'll go to the UCP, which is much harder. I'm not going to read the entire articles, but I will discuss certain important aspects with you, and it is up to you to write down whatever the what do you call this notes under each article, whatever we are discussing. If you think it is very important to you, which is not there in the article, please write down those notes, right? Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear? Because as trade practitioners, you should know in detail, especially in a scenario like what is happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. This, I think, fire in this express pearl, ship whatever the goods came to Sri Lanka, what is happening. Now, all those things, uh, if you are working in the departments, you must be having the problems. If those problems have not come to you, your bosses must be running here and there to solve these things, right? So it is very important what we are going to discuss today, right? If you talk about the history of the URC, URC was first introduced in January 1979. The first one was ICC publication number 322. What is the present one? What is the present one?
URC 522.
URC 522, the second line, right? The latest revision, publication number 522. That came into effect on 1st January 1996. So since 1996, now it is more than 25 years. No changes in URC. No changes in URC. Right? Uh, when was the UCP? First UCP was introduced? Can somebody give me the answer? Hmm? Kevin, Judy? When was
1933.
Very good. Very good. Who answered that? Who gave that answer? Huh? Who gave that answer?
Kevin, me.
Kevin. Kevin. Very good. All right. Then the URC 522 is divided. URC 522 is divided uh, into 26 articles under 7 distinct sections, right? And I'm not going to discuss these things. You can see, and I have uh, given these things earlier also, right? But you are learning URC is much easier than UCP. UCP articles are here and there mostly, but URC it's very methodical, right? If you talk about the general provisions and definitions, Article 1 to 3. Form and structure of corrections, Article 4. Form of presentations, Article 5 to 8, like that. Then Article 1, right? In URC 522, Article 1 outlines that the rules will apply when incorporated into the text of a collection instructions. In මේ කියනේවා හරි ඔළුවට හොඳට ගන්න. මෙවන් තමයි questions උගන්ට correct එන්නේ. Right? Outlines that the rules will apply when incorporated into the text of a collection instructions. This follows the principle in all ICC rules that they only apply if the transaction is made subject to their application. It is very important. There are many times, if you see the past papers in DIT, then DABF, if you have done DABF, past papers and all, there are common questions like, okay, you have received a set of collection documents without mentioning that these documents are subject to URC 522. Without that, subject to URC 522. Then what are you going to do? What should be your action? If it is not mentioned that these are subject to URC 522, then the rules under URC 522 cannot be applied. Cannot be applied. Right? Then acceptance and blah, 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 then partial payments, partial shipment, all those things, we can't apply the URC 522 rules. Right? In a scenario like that, what rule will be applied? What rule will be applied? I think some of these things I have discussed with you when I was doing the collection. What rule will be applied? Normally, the country's commercial law will apply. But as a prudent bank, any bank, if you have received a set of collection order without mentioning URC 522, then what should be the action you have to take? What sort of action you have to take? Please join me, because these are not lessons, these are discussions. Today, I'm going to do a discussion with you. So, I know majority are trade finance guys. Kevin, Judy, Dylan, Sampath is also there. Hmm? Right. Uh,
We can decline the collection.
you can
Decline
you can
or
you can decline the collection. As a bank, are you going to do that? As a bank, no. Very good. Uh, answer karo putara pan thank
or,
kar.
or we can get some confirmation, reconfirmation like.
Yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, I can't see your face or name. Correct. We what we can do is we can go back to the remitting bank and get their confirmation. Return කරන්න එපා. Right? එහෙම නැත්නම් ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයකට එනවා. Go back and get the reconfirmation. Then they will tell you, yes, it is, and they will thank you also. Right? These people make mistakes. Right. Then subarticle 1B. Subarticle 1B. 1B, මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? Bank shall have no obligation to handle either a collection or any collection instructions or subsequent related instructions. Even though they have mentioned URC 522, the collecting bank has no obligation to handle a collection. It is their prerogative. Right? Okay. Then we will go to Article 2. Article 2 defines the meaning of collection and right. Article 2 defines the meaning of collection and outlines a concept of financial and commercial documents. Right? They talk about definition of collection, that is Article 2, and then they say they talk about the documentary collection, they talk about clean collection, and then they talk about financial collection. Right? If it is financial collections, only the financial document, that is bill of exchange, is there. No other commercial documents. Right? Normally, a documentary collection is financial document accompanied by commercial document, or commercial documents not accompanied by a financial document under 2D. Under 2D. Right? Please note that definition indicates clearly that collections covered by these rules are those that are handled by banks. Very important. The remitting bank is sending a set of collection documents to a customer directly, saying that this is subject to URC 522. But those documents goes direct to the importer. Then this URC 522 doesn't apply. These rules will apply when the documents are handled by the banks. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right.
Yes.
Right. Then Article 3. Article 3 lists the parties involved. This I am not going to talk about much on this because over under the right? They list the parties involved. Although 5 are mentioned, there may often only be 4 parties involved because there may or may not be a separate presenting bank. As a parties, they say Principal, remitting bank, collecting bank, presenting bank, right? And the drawee. But presenting, in most cases, presenting bank and the collecting bank are the same, right? Then in this one, if I ask a question, now you guys are, I want you to think. I want you to think more into deep. According to Article 3A, when you talk about the uh, collective bank, අරම ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. ඒකේ නැති එකක් මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ? නැති බැංකුවක්. සයිකල් එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැන්ඩල් කරන සයිකල් එකේ නැති බැංකුවක් මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ? It's a common sense question.
Remitting bank?
Remitting bank. Remitting bank දාලා නැහනේ. Why? Why? Because remitting bank is not necessarily, but in local collection, operations, in most cases, the remitting bank may also be the collecting bank. The remitting bank may also be the collecting bank. If the both buyer and the seller are having accounts with the same bank, right, locally, then the remitting bank is bank ABC, collecting bank is also bank ABC, right? Remitting bank ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන්නේ collection එක පැත්තෙන් ඒ collecting bank එක පැත්තෙන් තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන්නේ parties. Right. Article 4. Article 4 එකේ මොකක්ද දෙන්නේ අපි? Collection instructions. It is collection instructions. Right? Whenever documents are sent on a collection basis, they are to be accompanied by a collection instruction, as stated in Article 4. I think I have given you a copy of a collection document also. I have given you a copy of a specimen collection order form, right? And I have told you very clearly, like this question is asked many times, especially when you are working overseas, European countries, okay, they adhere to these things. But when I was working for HSBC Middle East, sometimes some banks, they have about when I was there, they had about 49 banks, commercial banks. Right? Some banks are unheard, and they don't have much trade finance specialists in their banks. So when their customers send the collection instructions in a covering letter, they accept. They accept. But after that, they have to send the collection order form to the collecting bank as per Article 4. So there may be a lot of things missing. That is why we have introduced collection order forms to our beneficiaries. So when the beneficiaries submit the collection documents to the remitting bank, which gives every instruction. Only the customer has to tick. Then there's no ambiguity, right? This is in essence of a schedule outlining full instructions. For example, terms and conditions that are to apply to the collection. If a bank is willing to handle the collection instructions, it must fully comply with these instructions, right? මේක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ඕන. කොයි ලාකවත් customer කෙනෙක් උස්සගෙන ආවොත් collection එක without our bank's standard collection order form, don't accept it. Don't accept it. Ask them to fill the pen, bring it to them, right? Article 5. Article 5. And now, for example, Article 4 එක තව ටිකක් බලමු. When the beneficiary submit everything with the collecting or collection order, then the remitting bank will upload whatever the instructions to their collection order to the collection instructions to the collecting bank. They will send it to the collecting bank, right? Then the collecting bank will only be guided by the instructions on the collection instructions itself. That's it, right? Collecting bank will not look elsewhere for instructions. They will be only guided with the instructions they have received from the remitting bank. For them to have the remitting bank to give those instructions without ambiguity, then they should get it clearly. That's why everybody follows the same collection order form. Bank to bank, there may be little changes. Sampat Bank, Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, NTB, NDB, there may be small differences. If you have friends, try to collect the sample forms and see whether there are any differences. Very, very limited. But some banks, where you get the column or the line, all those things, in some banks it must be on top. In some banks it will be in the middle or down, like that. Only the places. We do it purposely because there are nowadays 100% everything computerized. So when we receive the collection order form, we have to upload it to the system. එතකොට system එකේ pages එක 10ක් විතර අපි යන්න ඕන. පැන pages 10ක් විතර යන්න ඕන. ඉතින් ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි අර bank to bank, they according to their system, they change the can somebody has can you mute your only when you're answering, unmute it and answer, otherwise you are disturbing the others. Thank you. Article 5 describes presentation as the act of presenting bank making documents available to the drawee or the importer. Article 5 Article 5 talks about the presentation, right? What they say is expression such as first, prompt, immediate, and the like should not be used in connection. Article 5, A, B, C, D, E, F, sub-articles, please read. Right? Please read. Subarticle E and F, the documents and collection instructions may be sent directly by the remitting bank to the collecting bank or through another bank as intermediary. That we discuss, presenting bank and the collecting bank. If the remitting bank does not nominate a specific presenting bank, the collecting bank may utilize a presenting bank of its choice. Right? If you have received, if you are the collecting bank, if you have received the collection order and that you don't have the customer with you and you are not in a position to deliver the documents to the customer, but you know that the customer is having an account with NDB bank, so you take the decision to forward the documents to the NDB bank. Right? Otherwise, the remitting bank itself will have to mention that please forward these documents to the NDB bank. So, Bank of Ceylon will be the collecting bank, and the NDB bank will be the presenting bank. If they have not mentioned, then it is the collecting bank's prerogative to choose a proper bank. Right? Right. Article 6. Article 6. As outlined in Article 6, for documents payable at site, a presenting bank must make payment without delay. Right? If it is payment at site, payable at site, then the presenting bank must make payment without delay. The moment you deliver the documents at site, you have to debit the customer and effect the payment. If the collection is payable at a future date, then the presenting bank must obtain acceptance without delay. Right? And make presentation to the accepted draft to the drawee, importer, or not later than the maturity date. Right? Is it clear? DA draft, DA payment so they will accept the draft documents against acceptance, then we will deliver the documents, and the payment has to be done on the maturity date. Right? If the payment has not been done on the maturity date, what sort of action the bank should take? Doesn't it bank? What sort of action?
Inform to the remitting bank.
Inform the remitting bank immediately. Immediately means the following day itself, they have to inform. Then is that Judy answered?
No, Brightney.
Today?
Brightney.
Brightly. Okay, Brightly. After that, we inform. Is that the only obligation we have? Is that the only obligation we have? Come on, what about others? I told you this is a discussion session. Now you have learned all these things, and you have, I'm sure you may have gone through the articles once or twice by now. What the කරන්න make articles bank to bank, the practice, the best practice. What should be the best practice? But as a presenting bank, even though officially or legally we don't have any obligation, but we have a moral obligation. Because my customer has cleared the goods. He has sold the goods. He has recovered the money. Now he is absconding the payment. Is it a good scenario?
No, sir.
No, it is not a good scenario. Then what can we do? What we should do? We have to monitor. We have to monitor uh, on a regular basis with your customer. My best practice is I will diarize it, and every 10 days or 14 days period, I used to follow it up with the customer. Hey, what is going to happen? You are not paid, right? Tell me what you are going to do. Because we have, even though we don't have any obligation, but we have a moral obligation towards the remitting bank and the principal who has sent the documents to us to inform them the latest situation, right? So that part you have to follow it up. Mamanang samaning every 2 weeks now follow up. Then
Sir,
yeah,
can we give them loan facilities to the buyer if they are not able to pay the bill?
why not? Why not? If you are ready, you can give. Why not? But if you are not ready, then I'm talking about the scenario, right? You are not going to give any loan facility. Otherwise, you can give them an import loan and then settle the bills. That should be the best way, right? Okay. Then, like that, every 2 weeks you have to inform them. And the make mga handi ni අන්තිමටම කමන්නේ මම අන්තිමට අහනකොට ඔගොල්ලෝ උත්තර දෙන්න ඕන මට ඩක් ගාලා, right? Now we go on and we tell the remitting bank also, still they have not done anything. Please contact your customer, that is the beneficiary, and ask them to deal directly with the importer, right? And the other thing, if you are not doing these things, the remitting bank might be under the impression these people will pay. Right? Okay. Then those follow-ups, how long we have to do it?
For 3 months, sir.
Pardon?
For 3 months. For 3 months, maximum of 3 months.
Maximum 3 months.
Yeah.
No. Article 26. Article 26 ke තියෙනවා. Maximum kiyada?
2 months, sir.
2 months, 60 days. 60 days, right? So till 60 days, you should not keep quiet. You have to keep on pressing your customer, right? Okay. Okay. Article 6. Then Article
Sir,
7.
Sir, Sumudu here.
Yeah.
Can I disturb you?
Yes.
So nowadays, that due to that forex market illiquid deposition, most of banks are giving the priority to the LC payments and trying to delay most of the payments coming under the document recollections.
Sumudu,
even though
what I am telling in these presentations and What I'm teaching is the principle, right?
Yes. Yes.
But at the moment, we all know, like people like Sumudhu and all, the customers. Sumudhu is working for Singer Sri Lanka. This is Hades Group. Am I correct? Yeah, in the Hades Group, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, Hades Group. Now, they are customers.
Yes. Yes.
So very good opportunity, the bankers and a customer to have a dialogue, right? Now, according to the law, yes, not law, according to the rule, and the best practice is to keep on pressing. But even if the customer is willing to do the payment, there's no money in the country because of the scarcity of the foreign currency. They are not allowing, right? Not only that, Sumudhu,
Yes.
yesterday I had a
They
issue.
don't have they don't have obligation to pay, no?
No obligation to pay. No obligation to pay. But and they
As
say
importer, what is our system then? What will happen to us?
God help us. That's the only answer I can give. Right? God help us, because next time don't expect to
No, yeah, what will happen then? Yeah, then
have dealings with those guys. Right? These people cannot understand. Yesterday, what I was going to do tell you is only yesterday. I wanted to transfer. I am having a NRFC account with for earlier NRFC. Now it is foreign currency accounts, FCA accounts, right? Now all RFC and NRFC, they are merged and everything. When we first started saving the money with our country, they said big things. They showed us the sun and moon, everything, right? You can anytime you can remit the money out of the country and invest or whatever. Yesterday I wanted to send $900, nothing much, $900, right? $900 TT out of TT. Who one of the friends, which I owe some money to that guy. Suddenly he went to California because of the COVID situation. He was here and he, without taking the, what do you call this, he was one of my tenants, and he left without taking the security deposit. But it is my duty to pay him the security deposit, no? I have taken the money now. That money is with me now, and he has gone. He is not coming back to Sri Lanka. So I told him, okay, I will send. He said, no. So there's nothing to think. Don't think about it. Whenever it's possible, you send it to me. $900 can what I give anything, 1,75,000 rupees, right? You got I think on the account. That's what I'm talking about the others. Right? Even the collection so I'm not talking about the present.
Then what will happen is all the suppliers, all exporters will ask for the LCs.
Either they will ask for LCs, or I don't know. Even the site ones, you have a problem. I understand. Site collection.
How? Yeah. Anyway, that big, actually, most of the banks giving priority for us actually as a big customers, but I know that others are struggling. All are the small fellows.
Yeah. Okay.
Even that under that 60 days.
Yes.
Rule is not apply for this. No, even for the banks has to pay. Bank has to pay within 60 days or anything.
Now
can they back up to 60 days? So he can. They can.
Now the 60 days rule.
Stay without paying.
60 days rule is not an exact rule, but that's a very good practice, right? What is going to happen in a normal scenario, right? In a normal scenario, I know some banks are holding these outstanding documents for years and years. For years and years. Right? I can remember when I took over trade operations of HSBC Dubai, right? HSBC Dubai, when I took over the trade operations, there was one customer, one of my customers, his outstanding number of items, if I'm correct, he had more than 400 or 500 collection bills. More than 400 or 500 collection bills. කොහොමරි අර ලොකු computer printouts හතක විතර එක දිගට වදිනවා. single line හතක 10ක විතර වදිනවා. 10ක විතර වදිනවා. මොකද එක line එක පේජි 41යි වදින්නේ. මට තාම මතකයි. පේජි 41 ඒව 10ක් විතරම මගේ outstanding list එකේ 98% that particular customer. Right? That particular customer. And now again, was a famous customer. And then Indian customer. So when I checked, some were going back to 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. We were holding. We have not applied the Article 26. So what I did was, and it's a cumbersome thing, but we are holding. Customer says, okay, nothing to worry, you don't have any obligations. Whenever we are prepared to do, we will inform you to settle the bills. එහෙම තමයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ. මම අරගෙන සුමානෙන් I called the customer and I told him, I will give you 1 month. Give me, either you settle or tell me whether you have settled these bills in some other way outside the normal banking channels. That also can happen, no? Between sister companies. These payments were between sister companies. Can happen. You inform me. Otherwise, for every outstanding bill, I'm going to charge you 100 dirhams per month. 100 dirhams per month. Right? 100 dirhams per month. Now, it's very, first month again, Mama Gewa, there were about 1,800 bills. හිතන්න කොහොමද 1,800 bills මම හැමදාම every week or twice a week the system runs the printouts automatically printout then set computer printout set කරන්න දෙන්නේ sequence එක එන්න මිටියක් එනවා ලොකු මිටියක් ඉතින් මේක තේරුම් නැතිව බලන්නෙත් නැහැ අපි පැත්තකට දාන්න. First month again, after 1 month, he didn't take it seriously. He thought I'm also like other guys who were there earlier. Kelimma Gewa at the time, 18,000 dirhams. 18,000 dirhams Gewa next month again. Then he came back. Why? I said, I have already told you. I've already told you to reduce it. Otherwise, I'm let you keep the outstandings in my files, but I have to spend a lot of money for keeping these things, right? So I'm going to charge you. Luckily, my boss, who was a foreigner, a Britisher, he supported me. Local what support he supported me when I explained to him about the Article 26 and all. You won't believe, second month I got about 5-6 letters asking me to take out these items because we have settled the bills in a different way or something. Third month bills 1,800 bills bills even those 40 bills were just over 60 days. Just over 60 days. Customers are රිද්දන්න ඕන. රිද්දන වේවලත් අපේ අතේ තියෙන්නේ. මේ ආටිකල්ස් උත් තියෙනවා. මේ වේවල් තියාගෙන අපි රිද්දන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්නවා. කස්ටමර්ට ඕන විදිහට ලොකු කස්ටමර්ස්ට ඕන විදිහට මේ සුදු තරහ වෙන්න එපා. හරිද?
we want to banks are not paying now.
මට දෙට බහින්න නම් වෙන මට ගහනවා. දැන් කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් දන්නේ නෙමෙයිනේ. එහෙම නැතුව අර කියන ටක් ගාලා මේ කරන්න පුළුවන්. we are having the cane in our hand, right? ඔබට ඔලුවට ගන්න. ඔප් ගිහලා බලන්න ඕගලන්ගේ outstanding analyze කරලා බලන්න. These are the things and you can suggest as an additional income for the bank. These days the banks are also looking for additional income, right? Standard Chartered එකේම ඒදා මේ good ideas කියලා ඒ දවස්වල තිබුණ බල්බ් එකක් දාලා මේ මට මතකයි good ideas වලට 5000 10000 එහෙම දුන්නා අපිට. මේ වගේ you can suggest, right? Then Article 8, as expounded upon in Article 8, it can on occasion be the case that remitting bank instruct their collecting bank or withdrawee to create its own document. Article 8 එකේ කියන්නේ Article 8, creation of documents. Creation of documents. Creation of documents, sometimes the remitting bank will instruct the collecting bank or the drawee to create its own document. But here there's a very important thing, right? If there's any documents to create, normally the remitting bank should give the sample. They should provide the text. They should provide the text. Otherwise, if the collecting bank prepares the document according to their text, and if there's any due to some mishap, later these people were not in a position to cover the money and all, then the remitting bank cannot find fault with the collecting bank if they are not given the sample text, right? But they can create. Article 9. Article 9 is good faith and reasonable care. Only one line. Banks will act in good faith and exercise reasonable care. Right? Normally the Article 9 addresses the issue that has to be expected in a commercial transaction. Any bank, whether it's trade or whatever, the bank should act in good faith without any negligence, right? And in order to preserve reputational profiles. The bankers should understand more than the financial loss, the reputational loss is bigger. More than the financial losses you can recover, but the reputational loss you cannot recover easily, right? You cannot recover easily. Now, for example, if Sumudu is having some bad experience with a bank, this is one of the banks, then Sumudu has requested a bank that they should settle a bill within this period. The bank has failed to do so, and the financial loss was, because of that, the financial loss was about $1,000. He has experienced a loss of $1,000 interest payment. So when he mentioned that to the bank, Right? So these things are happening in a normal day-to-day operations. When you inform the bank, look, I thought you have done this, you have failed to do this, because of that, I have incurred a loss of $1,000. So please refund it. Some banks, they are very arrogant. They said, no, why should we do? We have not received the thing. Well, look at the cases, Out of us, then you are not getting the money. 1,000 was not refunded ultimately. Now, what is your situation? You are going to discuss this matter, talk this matter with your friends, other colleagues, other companies. Right? Don't go to that bank, lousy bank. This is how they treated us. You were gamang මොකද වෙන්නේ? That reputational loss is very much bigger than $1,000. So don't think about those petty things, right? You think about you see whether is that one of your prime customer. Then how you should handle that prime customer. Repair see this year, prime customer, and we all are human beings, right? I am having accounts with many banks, my personal accounts, right? Whenever my deposits are getting matured, I used to call them. What's the rate? So now 3 months goes at 4.5%. That's the best. So another bank is giving me 4.75. Because of my loyalty, I'll go back to my previous bank whose deposit is getting matured. Then I will tell them I got an offer from that particular bank or another bank without mentioning the bank. Can you match it? 4.75. 100,000 rupees worth of 4.75, 0.25 can get rupees this year. Mama, self mode kila. Oh, abhi mode hai tamai. Abhi mode winne because we also have our demanding power. Why can't we do this? The bank the last again 250 rupees. 250 rupees. 0.25 basis points. Right? 250 rupees is peanuts. But if the bank is adamant, no, I'm not going to change it. Here. What is my position? I will withdraw my money and go to that other bank. But that is the beginning. Gradually, I will, whenever my deposits are getting matured, one by one, I will transfer it to the other banks. Isn't it happening? ඒක වෙනවා ඒක නේද වෙන්නේ අපි එතින්දී මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ මම අහන මිනිහෙක් කිව්වොත් එම මේ XYZ bank I am going to put some money. Oh, don't put it. Lousy bank, they are not flexible. Finish. That reputation loss because of 250 rupees. What is 250 rupees for me or 250 rupees for the bank? Right? ඒ වගේ ඒවා පොඩ්ඩක් අපි හිතන්න වෙනවා හොඳ කස්ටමර් සාමාන්‍ය කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක්ගෙන් කල්ලිවල්ලි කියන්නේ අපි මිඩල් ඊස්ට් එකවලදී කියන්නේ we don't care right for good customers yes we have to do it and the reputation loss එක හරි ලොකු ඒකයි මේක කියන්නේ you have to be very careful when you are handling and you have to do it in good faith and without any negligence. Article 10 also always you get questions and we can always round up some questions from Article 10. Question 10, Article 10 again. That clarifies that a bank is not concerned with the underlying goods to a transaction. Right? And As such, goods should not be delivered to a bank, and neither should a transport document indicate that the goods are consigned to or to the order of that bank unless otherwise agreed in bonds. This particular thing is happening very frequently. I don't know why banks are not taking any action. In collection, made sure that transport documents BL are not consigned to the bank. Instead, it should be consigned to the importer. Drawee. It should be consigned to the drawee. Right? Why we are so bothered about not getting the thing consignee as the bank? Sorry, the bank as a consignee. Bank as a consignee. Why we want importer as a consignee? What is the difference? Why? Hmm? Because the thing is, especially the remitting banks, when they are sending the documents to the collecting bank, they have to be careful that the documents are not consigned to especially the transport document BL is not consigned to the collecting bank unless otherwise they have got prior approval. Right? The reason is when you are going to address the bank as a consignee, right? Then bank will get involved in this particular transaction. First, the bank has to endorse it, and then bank has to endorse it to the customer. If you say Hades, then we will endorse the customer Hades, and then Hades will go and collect the goods. Right? But in principle, we are the consignee. The bank is a consignee. So we are getting dragged into any unnecessary things. Okay. For example, the consignment you have received is narcotics. It's narcotics. Right? මේ හොඳට ඔලුවට ගන්න ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ. මේවා වෙන්නේ දේවල්. ඒකයි අපි කියන්නේ එපා කියලා. මේ potatoes ASCII narcotics එනවනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ ඒක නේ. Potato consignments when you are getting from Pakistan name, there's a famous thing. Plastic potatoes වගේ හදලා කොහොමද ඇතුලේ narcotics දාලා එවනවා. ඒවා වෙනම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා. ඔය බෑග් එකේ දෙක තියෙන කෙනෙක්. right? දැන් ඒ වගේ narcotics department එක අල්ලගත්තොත් කවුද consignee? Who is the consignee? Who is the consignee? The bank. Because they have made the bank as a consignee. Then we have to go to courts for unnecessarily. Right? Ekinda තමයි Article 10 very important. We should not get it consigned to the bank unless otherwise it's very, very important. A good customer. අපි කරනවා. අපි කරන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්නේ. අපි කරනවා. For a good customer, but you have to get you have to inform them. Remitting bank, you have to get their prior approval. We can inform the remitting bank. Okay, it's all right. You can name the bank as the consignee, right? Without approval. ඒ කරන්න පුළුවන්. අනිත් එක තමයි If it is another thing, make it you know, you have to read the article between the lines. Banks have no obligation. Article 10b. Banks have no obligations to take any action in respect of the goods to which documentary collection relates, including storage and insurance of the goods, even when specific instructions are given to do so. Banks will only take such action if, when, and to the extent that they agree to do so in each case. Right? Bank have no obligations. Even they ask to release the goods and storage and insurance, the bank can refuse. Some banks, they point blankly refuse with the acknowledgement, or even if you have missed to do it under Article 10b, banks have nothing to do. But capital BUT, if the bank has been named as a consignee, it has been consigned to the bank, then we have the obligation, legal obligation, to look after the goods. දැන් තේරෙනව නේද? ඒක තමයි අපි කියන්නේ කරන්න එපයි කියන්නේ.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So this rule applies only for documentary collection, or is it only for the documentary collection?
Yes.
So when we are handling LCs, is it a problem?
May I know speaking there?
Shanita.
Shanish?
Shanita.
Chanita. Chanita, you are from which bank?
Commercial bank.
Commercial bank. Very good. දැන් මට අලුතෙන් එනවා ළමයි එකතු වෙනවා මේ ප්‍රශ්න. එන්න මේක තමයි මට ආසම දේ. Right? The question එකක් Shanita ඇහුවේ. Shall I put it to the forum? Can I put this question to the forum? And the LC, it is consigned to the bank. Why? Answer. That was the question, Shanita. Under collection, yes, we should not do it. But LC, yes.
Is that obligation, sir?
Yeah, that obligation is there. Why? You are correct, Shanita. Under LCs, yes. Consign is the bank. Why?
Bank is liable to pay for the LCs and they can recover the money if the import is not paid.
Yes, very good. Because now you have to start with the definition of LC. If the documents are complied with the terms and conditions of the LC, then they will pay. They have to pay. Even if the customer pays or not, they have to pay. Right? So that is why it is a must that in the BL, the bank has to be named as a consignee. So we can clear the goods and we can sell the goods and recover the money. Worst case scenario. So, Shanita, have you got the answer?
Yes,
Under
sir.
LC?
Thank you.
Under
Yes,
LC?
sir.
Yes. We have to.
Yeah.
We have to, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Then Article 11 to 14 cover the disclaimers. Acts of an instructed party, documents received, effectiveness of documents, and delays, loss in transit and translation. Right? Article 11 to 14. Article 11, disclaimer for acts as instructed party, particular band. Right? Then Article 12, disclaimer on documents received. Then Article 13, disclaimer on effectiveness of documents. Right? Then Article 14, disclaimer on delays, loss in transit and translation. All those, Article 11 to 14, 11, 12, 13, 14, 4 articles. straight away, they are talking about disclaimers, right? Okay, Article 15 talks about force majeure, acts of God, as would be expected. The rules include a generic article, Article 15, in respect of delays that may arise due to the occurrence of a force majeure event. Force majeure event, right? Now, these days, maybe due to COVID or some maybe insurrection or something, we may have to close down certain branches, even the head office, the trade finance department. Then you can't function. You want to do the payment, but that is beyond our control, acts of God, right? Then very recently, yesterday, day after, right? You may have seen the what do you call this? Floods in certain areas, very severe floods, right? Due to that, if your branch is got caught with floods, then what can we do? That's acts of God, right? So banks are not responsible for that. Transport strikes, bank strike, bank strikes, force majeure in 1977, only Standard Chartered Bank, we went on strike for 55 days, right? I was a union secretary, and we organized this thing, a strike against the management for 55 days, only Standard Chartered Bank, right? So that is beyond the control of the bank. Banking අපි ලොකු demands දුන්නා නම් අපි යනවා වැඩට. ඉතින් දෙන්නත් නැහැ. ඉතින් එතෙන්දී payment එක කරන්න තිබුණා කියලා payment එක කරන්න බෑ. හැබැයි ඉතින් මේගොල්ලෝ payments කළා. officers ලා දාලා managers ලා දාලා එමින් පොඩ කරගෙන ගියා. payments අවසන් බැරි ඉන්න. නැත්නම් ඒ වගේ දේවල් වෙනවා. Due to 1989 මට මතකයි banks දිගටම වහලා තිබුණා මේ insurgency period එක, right? bank එකට ලියුම ආව ගමන් ටක් ගාලා bank එක වෙනවා. දැන් ඒ වගේ situations තියෙනවා. those covers under Article 15. Article 16 to 19 focus upon various aspects of payment without delay, local and foreign currencies, and partial payments. Like Article 16. Article 16 is payment without delay. Payment without delay. It says Article 16, 17, 18, 19 now, all four articles are covering payments, right? So they say payments without delay. Amounts collected, less charges, blah, 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 must be made available without delay to the party from whom the collection instruction was received in accordance with the terms and conditions of the collection instructions. 16A. Now, Sumudu, what are you going to do about this? As per the article URC 522, Article 16A, site bill or whatever, without any delay, the bank has to do the payment. Then the answer is, right?
Yes.
It's very clear. Okay. Then B, notwithstanding the provisions of sub-article 1C, and unless otherwise agreed, the collecting bank will effect payment the amount collected in favor of the remitting bank only. Okay? And then I'm not working in a bank now. Just for my information, Kevin, if you're in NDB, ne?
No, sir. Standard Chartered.
Kevin, who is? Are there any people who are working for or handling collections of the Indian audience? This is only for my information. I want to get some idea. Maybe my crowd they how you know the collections handle collection table again. Bayana to kada ano pwede
I do collections, sir.
You do collection, yeah?
Shavindri.
Charindi. Charindi commercial bank.
Standard Chartered.
Standard Chartered. CH or TH, your name. Tarindi or
Shavindri. SHAVIN.
Shavindri. Yes, Shavindri. Shavindri, now earlier question. Now the customer wants to pay. Now, but you can't pay. Now, what are we going to do on the due date? Are you sending a note to the remitting bank?
Yes, we send a SWIFT and also we keep the RM informed also.
You send a SWIFT and
yes.
keep the RM informed. Very good.
Yes.
You are doing the correct thing. In the SWIFT, what are we mentioning?
That is the bill remains as unpaid or unaccepted.
Unpaid, accepted, unpaid due
yeah,
to
unpaid.
Unpaid due to what reason?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. You are covering the nation. Okay. That's very good. That's a good practice. That's a good practice because we can't just open to the world the problems we are having now. So they are.
Yeah, we just say the bill remains unpaid by the drawee.
Government regulations you are not mentioning.
No.
No. Very good. No, that's a good practice. That's a very good practice because according to URC 522, yes, it can be held without payment, right? But between the buyer and the seller, they know the correct picture. As a bank, we have to think about the country also. Very good. The other banks also, I think you heard that answer. That's a good practice by Standard Chartered. Very good practice. I don't know about yours. I'm not going to ask. Just check when you go back to work next time. Next time, like I'm not saying on Monday, people are not going to work regularly. So if you happen to know about those things, just check with the collection desk what sort of message you are dispatching, right? Then Article 17 is payment in local currency. In the case of documents payable in the currency on the country of the payment, the presenting bank must, unless otherwise instructed in the collection instruction, release the documents to the drawee against the payment in local currency only if such currency is immediately available for disposal in the manner specified in the collection instructions. Right? Payment in foreign currency, in the case of documents payable in a currency other than in the country payment, the presenting bank must. The main articles Diploma 17 and 18 it is necessary for remitting banks to be aware that there are exchange control regulations in various countries, right? Which may mean that any payment made by the drawee can only be remitted after appropriate exchange control approval, right? Okay. They're making a winning now. Sumudhi is prepared to pay the money in rupees, but the bank has to convert it to the currency of the collection order, collection bill, right?
So I have to add, so I have to add something on this.
Yeah.
Sometimes, actually nowadays, some banks, what they are doing is they are settling the supply through nostro account.
Yeah,
and
that we discussed earlier.
Without debiting our account because of their NOP levels.
Yeah. Okay, that we discussed earlier. There are new innovative methods have introduced, right? Then Article 19, partial payments. Article 19, very common one. Always the customers, always you get questions on Article 19. Very common one. Again, very Article 19B. Article 19B වල තමයි question එක එන්නේ. right මම මේකෙන් පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ට දෙනවා questions එක homework කරන්න. ඒකේ මම ගොඩක් කියන්න යන්නේ නැහැ මොකද මේ Article 19B එක apply වෙන case studies ටිකක් තියෙනවා. There are about 10 or 15 case studies I have given. Then Article 20 is the interest, and Article 21 is charges and expenses. But both are very much similar. The interest, if the collection instruction specified that interest is to be collected, make it very important. Article 20 and 21. Article 20 is a very popular article for questions, right? Article 20. In Article 20, you have to read Article 20A, B, and C, right? Here also, I'm not going to discuss it now because I have given a case study. I want you to do it, and then we will discuss the case study, because a lot of people, when they are answering, they mixed up 20A and 20C. First, you have to read the question very carefully. Then you have to answer the question accordingly. Right? Without reading, sometimes you start talking about 20C. Whereas I am asking answer based on 20A. Right? ඒ දෙක මේක හොඳට කියවන්න කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න. Article 22 is acceptance. The presenting bank is responsible of seeing that the form of the acceptance of a bill of exchange appears to be complete and correct, but is not responsible for the genuineness of any signature or for the authority of any signatory to sign the acceptance. This is also a very common practical situation. Sometimes we will say, we will give the customer the bill of exchange to be accepted, and it has to be signed by the authorized signatories to the company, right? But sometimes this guy is always having the company rubber stamp in his pocket, the courier guy or the guy who is visiting the bank. PM කෙනෙක් හරි clerk කෙනෙක් හරි වගේ කෙනෙක් may visit කරන්න, who comes to the bank to collect the documents, right? Those guys will go everywhere. They visit 5-6 banks, and meanwhile he goes to his daughter's school to collect the daughter, drop them at home, have lunch, have a half an hour nap, come back and collect the documents from the bank. Collect the documents from the bank. Right? ඒ වෙනකොට බැංක් එක හදලා තියලා තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් මෙයා දවස් 30 මේ කරනවා. සමහරවිට the bank says, okay, to release the documents, I need the draft to be accepted. He has a this thing. පිටිපස්සේ ගහනවා accepted කියලා ගහලා මිනිහම sign කරලා දෙනවා. අපි signature check කරන්න නැතුව ගත්තොත් check කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. We don't have to check whether this guy is authorized to sign කියන එක, we don't have to do it. But as a prudent bank, we normally check. We normally check because there are certain cases. So the reason is, and these especially these courier guys or the messengers, they jump from one company to the other. Right? Now, for example, if that guy is working for Singer and if he's a good guy and he is asking a salary increase from the company says, no, this is not the time to give the salary increase. Then another company will notice this and they will say, okay, we will give you $5,000, 5,000 rupees more. Join us. That guy will join because they don't have much to think, right? And by the time after 3 months, when the company has to pay the bill, then they will say, they knowing that this particular guy has signed, okay, නිකන් නෙමෙයි ඉඳලා නෙමෙයි ගොඩක් වෙන දෙයක්. අර මිනිහත් හැමතිස්සෙම බැංකයට එනින්ද අපිත් එක්ක හරි යාළුයි. දැන් අර කලින් කම්පැනි එක අපි තුමු සිංගල් කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා now they want to pull a string. They tell the bank, sorry, don't pay this bill because we have not accepted. It has not been signed by the authorized party. Right? So can SCB say the remitting bank, sorry, we can't do the payment. We can't do the payment because the draft has not been signed by the authorized person. Can we do that? Can we do that? Shavindra, can we do that?
We can't, sir.
Huh?
Can't.
Can we pay or not?
No, we have to pay.
We have to pay. As per Article 22, bank is not responsible for determining the status of the person signing the draft. Bank has to pay. හැබැයි එහෙම වුණාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපේ credibility will go for 6. නේ? ඒකෙන්ද තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් normally, I know, even though that Article 22 says like that, we normally check. We normally check the authenticity of the accepted signature. Accepted signature එක පොඩ්ඩක් අපි බලමු. ඒක බලන එක හොඳයි. මොකද ඔයාලට pay කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අරගල සූ කරන්න ගියොත් පොඩි මේකක් එනවා. As per the Article 9, you have to be more vigilant. You have to act without any negligence. එතන පොඩි negligence පාරක් ගිහලා තියෙනවා නේ. ඒකෙන්ද Article 9 එකේ පැත්තෙන් අපිට cover එකක් නැහැ. case එකක් ගියොත්. අපි article 22 එක හැටියට yes we have a cover. ඒකෙන්ද අර practice එක තමයි පොඩ්ඩක් check කළාට ඉතින් follow up වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Because we are used to those signatures. banks වල අපි දැන් authorized signatories අපිට කටපාඩම්නේ refer කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ. දැක්කම මම දන්නවා කාගේද කියලා. අඩු ගන්න ඒ වගේ ඒවා තියෙනවා නම් අපි covered. bank. Article 23 23 එකේ තියෙන්නේ promissory notes and other instruments. The presenting bank is not responsible for the genuineness of any signature or for the authority of any signatory to sign a promissory note, receipt or other instruments. Same as 22. Right? එකත් ඒ වගේමයි. Article 24 clarifies the collection instructions should always provide guidance as to the procedure to be followed in the event of protest. Protest I have discussed with you in detail, so I am not going to discuss it again. Right? For non-payment or non-acceptance. If no guidance is provided, then banks have no responsibility to pursue such redress. Right? I'm sure banks like the two banks I have worked, I know when we are sending the acknowledgement of collection, SCB as well as HSBC, when we are sending the acknowledgement, we say we will not undertake noting and protesting and storing and insurance of the goods. ඒක අපි දානවනේ. අපි දාලා දැම්මහම අපි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම fully covered. Right? Because noting and protesting is a lengthy legal procedure and expensive. So that's why we are trying to avoid that. We don't want to get unnecessarily dragged into these unnecessary things. In Article 25, right, on occasion, a collection instructions will mention an entity that can be contacted in case of need. Article 25 highlights that the instruction should fully define the scope and responsibility of such party. They have to mention. Otherwise, we will not act on that. So, for example, now we have received a set of collection instructions. In the set of collection instructions, it says, case of need, Mr. M.J. Pereira. Case of need, Mr. M.J. Pereira. And M.J. Pereira's address and contact number is there. So, the drawee has not paid the bill. In that scenario, we will contact the drawee are not paid in the sense they have not come to the bank. We are, it's a site bill. We are informing them they are not coming. So, as per the collection instructions, we inform Mr. M.J. Pereira, Mr. Pereira, you are the case of need, and so, the beneficiary, the drawee has not come to collect the documents. Then after 2 days, Mr. M.J. Pereira informed the bank, okay, as the case of need, I'll give you the instructions that release the documents to XYZ company instead of ABC company and collect all charges and remit. Can we do that? Can we do that?
So the instructions should come through remitting bank, is it?
No. No.
Can the case of need give us instructions to handle the collection?
That's my question. You're asking the same question from me. I'm also asking the same question. Can
Principal should the principal should decide on this?
Principal is the one who has decided to appoint Mr. M.J. Pereira as a case of need.
My opinion is it should come through Remiting Bank.
No.
Hmm.
The principal is the owner. The principal has informed the remitting bank, please include Mr. M.J. Pereira as the case of need. So, accordingly, remitting bank has mentioned Mr. M.J. Pereira's name. But as a collecting bank or the presenting bank, can we accept Mr. Pereira's instructions? What about others? Kevin? And then Dylan, Judy? Or Judy miss or what? What do you think? Everybody?
So this says Article 25 instruction should fully define the scope and responsibility of such party. So if that is informed to the bank, then there's no issue, right? Of the person in case of need.
Yeah. Who's that? Who gave
Malik.
that answer? Huh?
Malik.
Malik. Malik, your answer is about 80% correct. 80%
Okay.
correct. Ab tahu pada copy juga. Adu menang 80% hari. Full marks ganda. When you give the case of need, you have to provide, the remitting bank has to provide the full instructions that define the scope and the responsibility of such party. If they have mentioned Mr. M.J. Pereira as the case of need, then what we can do is we can inform Mr. M.J. Pereira only. But we are not obliged, or we have no responsibility to take the instructions from M.J. Pereira. My only, as a presenting bank or collecting bank, my only obligation is to inform him. He has to get in touch with the exporter, and the exporter will then give instructions. He can't touch with the remitting bank. He is no one, right? He is a completely outsider. So he will inform the principal, look, this guy is not coming to the bank, he is not taking. Please instruct the remitting bank for the instructions, if that's the case. But if the remitting bank has given the instructions, they have mentioned M.J. Pereira, and they will further, they will instruct, they will define what are the powers of Mr. Pereira, whether he has the powers to change the drawee and whatever, or extend the validity and all those things, they have to specifically mention. If they have mentioned under case of need, yes, then we can do without referring to remitting bank. But initially, the remitting bank should have given the scope and the responsibility of such party. Now you got it? Right?
Yes.
Malik's answer is 80% hariku ekai. Itu tika pada kata lagi na hari. Article 26. Article 26 is my pet article.
So excuse me, small verification, sir. Now in the case of need thing, how do we communicate, so between that person and the bank? Normally we do in the SWIFT, no?
No. Now, may I not speak in there?
Shanita.
Shanita. Normally, case of need is domiciled in drawee's land or drawer's land. import එක රටේද ඉන්නේ export එක රටේද? Case of need. මට ඒකට උත්තර
Ravi.
importers country. ඒකනේ අර point කරන්න එකනේ. In case of a need, please contact Mr. MJ Perra. Normally, when they name the case of need, they give the Mr. MJ Perra, number 25, Rajagariya, and contact number. Everything is there. They have to give the contact details. Otherwise, how do we know where this MJ Perra is staying? Right? So normally they give the full address that the exporter will give to the remitting bank, and remitting bank has to relay the message to. They have to insert everything in the collection order form, right? නැත්නම් අපිට බෑනේ පුතා කරන්න නේද? ඔයාගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ හරි. The answer is they have to give the details to contact details, right? Okay. Article 26 is there is advisors. The form of advice, how we have to do it, right? And make a product collecting banks are to advise faith in accordance with the following rules. Make her important as a collecting bank. Form of advice. A. All advices and all information from the collecting bank to the bank from which the collection instructions was received must bear appropriate details, including in all cases the letter bank's references as stated in the collection instructions. It's a very simple instruction, but practically you all are practicing this. When you are sending a SWIFT message, you mention the remitting bank's reference numbers until you do it, no? You do it, right? Taking the method of advice, it shall be the responsibility of the remitting bank to instruct the collecting bank regarding the method by which the advisors detailed in subarticle C1, C2, C3 are to be given. In the absence of such instructions, the collecting bank will send the relative advisors by the method of its choice at the expense of the bank from which the collection instructions was received. Normally, when we are sending the advisors, the remitting bank has to mention that all advisors should be there to inform us by SWIFT. Otherwise, we can send a letter. These days, this corona period, if you send a letter, that's also advice, no? We have advice, we have proof. By registered mail, we have the registered mail listing. We have done this. But can you expect that letter to be received by the remitting bank within 2 days or 3 days? Not only 2 days, 3 days, nowadays, even 2 months, 3 months, you won't get it. But you can prove that I have done it. I have sent the advice. You have to advise kill a bank. You have to advise by SWIFT or expeditious manner. You have to inform, you have to telephone them, expeditious manner, right? You can telephone them and then send the SWIFT message immediately. Or again, quick methods you have to use, right? Advice of payment. C1, the collecting bank must send without delay advice of payment to the bank from which the collect. The moment you send the, you do the payment, advice of payment, right? You have to inform the remitting bank that we have done the payment. That you do. I know majority of the banks, they do, right? Detailing the amount collected and dispatched. Then advice of acceptance. The same thing we do for the acceptance also. When the customer accepted the document, then we keep the accept a draft with us, and then we release the documents and inform the remitting bank accordingly. Then advice of non-payment and non-acceptance, this is what I have mentioned earlier also. මම කලින් කිව්වේ article 26C එකට එන්න ඕනේ කියලා. එතෙන්දී අපි මේක කරන්නේ advice of non-payment or non-acceptance. In the case, you have to inform them without delay, immediately, right? I'll tell you. I don't know whether I have mentioned this when I was discussing the collection earlier. This is a classic example which I have come across. Right? This was not done by me or anybody, but by one of the banks which I have worked. Right? Because later this question came to me to handle. Right? Then I will tell you how I handled and what was the end result. When I was working in Dubai, there were altogether seven collection documents. Please listen to me very carefully. This is a very good case study for everybody, right? So you can discuss these things when you go back to the offices, right? This is what we have learned, and we should avoid these type of things in it. There were about 7 bills, collection bills. Collection bills were received by collecting bank was HSBC. HSBC Sharjah. Customer was staying in Sharjah. Then remitting bank was Vijay Bank India. Remitting bank was Vijay Bank India. Now the first two payments were not paid. First two payments were not paid. No, first payment was not paid, and we have informed the remitting bank, Vijay Bank, that it has not been, customer has not settled the bill as per the regulations, Article 26C1. Right? Yeah. Second bill, third bill, we have not informed anything. Fourth bill, we have informed. Fifth bill, sixth, seventh, we have not informed. After 3 months, Vijay Bank came back and saying, now this is more than 3 months, we have not received the money, please send the money immediately. As we have discounted the bills and pay the customer beneficiary. We have discounted the bills and paid the beneficiary. To see that the importer, Draw V, was an old Indian guy. He was bankrupt. His business was bankrupt. And he was declared bankrupt. When he was declared bankrupt, you can't do anything. You can't collect money now. And by the time we have received the 6th bill also, he got a heart attack and that guy had died. For the story at made. Now the Vijay Bank is asking money. Can they ask? Has HSBC done a mistake. Can Vijay Bank ask the money? Please open up. Now it is to the forum. You all can talk. Make ඕගලන්ටත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Or 2:45 break එක ගන්න හිටියේ මේක ඉවර කරලම ගමු. මේක interesting.
Yes, sir. The remitting bank can ask for the payment because we have not
The remitting bank can ask for the
payment.
On what grounds?
Because if the drawee has not paid, we have to inform the remitting bank that he has not paid, and after 60 days also if he doesn't pay, we have to return the documents that he has accepted, something like that. Sir.
Right. Do we have any obligation on the collection?
For the collection bills that we have advised, there is no. For the payments that we have not advised, yes.
What is the obligation under 26C1? 26C1 say yes, we have to do it, or we should do it, right? Does it mean that you have done a mistake? Yes. දුවගේ ආගමන්ට් එකේ එකක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක මම කිව්වේ මේක ඩිස්කස් කරන්න තියෙන එකක් කියලා. මේක කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Now who answered who gave that answer? What's your name?
Shanita.
Shanita. Now Shanita, just unmute your phone. I'll be the other questions, right? Okay. Now tell me why Vijay Bank is pressing the money, because they said they have discounted the bills. Can they discount the bill without our? If we are okay, yes, HSBC has done a mistake, but can they discount the bill based on that? They also wrong. The total number of the total of bills, 7 bills, the value came up to $250,000. Not a small amount. 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, $250,000. Then එතකොට HSBC පැත්තෙන් පොඩි mistake එකක් තියෙනවා. First one, they send the thing, so that is out of this thing, right? අපි inform කරලා තියෙනවා that they have not paid, and we have informed. The 4th bill also we have informed. The කරපු clerk ඒතර ටික locals ලා ඉන්නවනේ handle කරන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඔයගොල්ලෝ වගේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය නෙමෙයි. locals ලා very lethargic, right? locals ලාට හිතුනොත් තමයි advice කරන්නේ, හිතුනොත් කරන්නේ. හරි අමාරුවෙන් අපි වැඩ කළේ වැඩ කරන්නේ. ලංකාවේ එහෙම වුණා නම් කන්ට දෙයක් ගහලා එළියට දානවා. බැංකුවට එළියට දානවා. මෙහෙ නෑ. හිතුනොත් යවනවා, හිතුනොත් යන්නේ නෑ. එච්චරයි. right? මේ ඒ වගේ දැන් first එක ගියා, fourth එක ගියා. But they have discounted all 7 bills. The first අපි අඩු ගන්න අර දෙක අපි inform කරලා තියෙනවානේ. එහෙම inform කරලා තියෙද්දි if they have discounted, that is their baby. Why should we worry? If they have discounted and given, that's their baby. They should have come back to the bank and asked, we are going to discount these bills. We are going to discount these bills, right? There is a problem with HSBC Bank also, but my argument was different, right? because we'll have to cover the bank thing. That is the bank I'm working for, so I'll have to cover the bank. Clark Benala, promotion, but we have to think about the bank. Now, they should have come back to us saying that we are going to discount the bills. Can you reconfirm the payment? Because they have not received the money or the acceptance. So, එහෙම සද්ද නැතුව හිටියයි කියලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඊට පහුවෙන්ද නම් discount කරන්න මම දන්නේ නැහැ ඒගොල්ලෝ කොහොමද කළාද කියලා. If they have taken the risk, let them take the risk. That was my argument. Right? True that there was a mistake. But that doesn't mean අරගොල්ලන්ගේ loss එක තියෙන්නේ that they have discounted the bills and given the money to them. And 2 bills we have already informed them. ඒක මම මේ case study එකේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අරන් ආවේ. Bills දෙකක් අපි inform කළා that they have not paid කෙනෙක්. So that is one of the warning signal to Vijay Bank. That's one of the warning signal to Vijay Bank, right? So we did a mama argue කරගෙන අරන් ආවා. Yeah, but according to HSBC procedure, Jody knows about it. These near misses or near losses, this comes as a near loss now. Near losses, we'll have to report to our head office. When I reported to head office, my top guy in London, Mr. Neil Chantry, Neil Chantry's name is there. If you see the UCP and URC documents, where one of the rules books they came, Neil Chantry's name is there. He's in the panel. High level guy. Neil Chantry called me and asked me, Susanta, what is happening? Then I said, this. Our guys have done a mistake, but they have discounted the bills without informing us and without getting our confirmation. So I'm not going to give in to this. You know what he told me? Susanta, you are correct. Your argument is correct, right? But $250,000 is not a big amount to HSBC. Our reputational loss is very much higher. If they go to the market and tell this is what HSBC is doing, they have not informed on the non-payment immediately, and because of that, this is what we have done. They will always cover the 2 transactions which we have informed. They will talk about the other file, and it will be a reputational loss to the bank. Might as well pay this and deduct those 2 and pay the balance and close the chapter. So I think we had paid about $180,000 or something. Right? Okay, it is very, very important. Immediately on the following day, make sure that you have sent the non-payment. Okay? And that is why I have told you these non-payments and non-acceptances, once you send the advice on a regular basis, 10 days, every 10 days, send a fate telex to the remitting bank to inform them still it is not paid. Okay, then we are covered. Still it is not paid. Fate telex යවන්න ඕන. Right? So those are the best practices we can discuss. I think we have covered all 26 articles. I think, what do you think? Is it profitable, this discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because It's very very good for you people, because we are just discussing the details. Right. Now for your homework, you are presenting. How can I go to the can you see this?
Yes, sir. Can see.
Can see, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will. තාම පරණ මගේ designation නන්නේ. ඒක දැක්කේ නැහැ. This is case studies on uniform rules for collection. Right? This is for your homework. Do it, and I'm going to discuss with you next week. Right? කරගෙන නැතුව නම් එන්න එපා. තම කෙනෙක්ම කරගෙන එන්න. කරන්නේ නැතුව ආවත් කමන්නේ නැහැ. මට පේන්නේ නැහැ. ඔගොල්ලෝම රවට්ට ගන්නවා විතරයි එන්නේ. එක්සෑම් එක පාස් වෙනවා. මේ ටික ඔක්කොම දීලා තියෙනවා. මේකෙම අර ලේසි. document collection, parties involved, exporter, fill in the blanks. Exporter,
Principal.
then what bank? Starting with R,
Remitting bank.
Remitting bank.
collecting bank, importer is
Drop.
draw. මේ වගේ question එකක් දුන්නත් හොඳයි නේද භාගයට ෆයිනල් එකට.
Good.
Good. Yeah. Okay, from now onwards you have to do. Can you differentiate between clean collection and documented collection? Right. Then case study 1. You receive an import DP bill for $50,000. Your customer XYZ Company Limited informs you that they have cash flow problem and would like to pay $25,000 first, and the balance will be paid after the goods have been sold. What is your position under URC 522? What would be your advice in this case? මම මේක විතරක් කරන්න. You have received an import bill for 50,000 DP bill site. The customer informs you that they have a cash flow problem. They would like to pay 25,000 first, and balance will be paid after the goods have been sold. So I am going to release it by taking 25,000. What is your position under URC 522? What is the article, sub-article?
Article 19.
Article 19, sub-article. Very good. Article 19, sub-article B. Sub-article B. Partial payments are prohibited. You can't do partial payments unless otherwise the remitting bank has approved it. You can't do it. Either you pay in full or not pay. Right? So as you have to give your answer based on Article 19B. Article equivalent base kalla refer karna answer hadan. What would be your advice in this case? As a good bank, you want to support the customer also. What can we do? Ravindra, what can we do? Janita?
So get the advice from the remitting bank saying the
Remitting bank.
situation.
Give the advice from the
Remitting bank saying the
Remitting
situation.
bank.
no way. Remitting bank wants, it's like Shylock. They want the flesh. 1 pound. They want the full money, 50,000. How can you?
Loan facility.
Import loan.
Yes, if it's a good customer, you can give them an import loan facility of $25,000. The customer is prepared to give you $25,000 in as a first thing. This thing, take that 25,000, put it to the credit, and then for the balance, give an import loan facility and pay 50,000 once. Okay, right. Likewise, now you have to read these things. Case study 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many case studies are there? 8. 9, 10. There are 10 case studies which you can do. Ready? Okay, good. Now it's 3:10. We'll take a 10 minutes break. 10 minutes break. 3:20. I'll start discussing the UCP 600. Right? So UCP also, I'm going to give you 25 case studies. So don't wait for that one. Like, do it this week. Right? But please do it. Tomorrow you can start. Right? Okay. We'll come back at 3:20. Right. The second one is I thought of discussing the UCP 600 also articles, right? So even though I have asked you to study, I don't know whether you have studied or not, but I want you to join this discussion, and then if you have any gray areas to sort it out. Now, the previous one, few girls and Subudhu and few people try to clarify their gray areas, right? So what I'm always requesting you is to talk and try to have a negotiation with us, and we can put the question to the forum, and then the forum can discuss, and we can share our knowledge, right? Don't wait, just listening to what I'm telling, right? Right. When it comes to UCP 600 also, if you have an overview of UCP 600 articles, the general provisions and definitions 1 to 5, liabilities and responsibilities 6 to 13, right? Then under liabilities and responsibilities, liabilities of issuing bank and the responsibilities of issuing bank, then the confirming bank, advising bank, amendments, all those things come, right? Then one of the most important article in UCP 600 for trade specialist is Article 14, examination of documents, and Article 16, rejection of document, right? Then Article 28, Article 18 to 28, it is documents and that is inclusive of transport documents. Then miscellaneous provisions 29 to 33, disclaimers 34 to 37, transfer credits and assignments, transfer credits 38, assignments 39. Altogether, we have 39 articles. Previously, in UCP 500, we had 49 articles. Right? It was reduced to 39, and some articles were merged, and it was now reduced to 39 articles. That's why I've given a comparison for your information. Because sometimes in the trade quiz and all, this trade finance quiz, annually we were having. Now, due to this corona situation, last year also we didn't, and this year also I don't think we can repeat. We are asking these questions. They will ask you how many articles were there under UCP 500. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, because now you guys are from 2007. You are practicing UCP 600. My now already now the my students la 500 කරපු කට්ටිය. එක්කෙනෙක්වත් ඉන්නවද 500 කරපු කට්ටිය? Nobody? එක්කෙනෙක්වත් නැහැ. Now I have done 400, 500 and 600. Right? Okay. ඒක මාර comparison එකක් දුන්නේ. Here, I am not going to discuss the articles. I am going to discuss the important aspects, the concepts, and only an overview of the articles. Right? Article 1, it says, Uniform Customs and Practice of Documented Credits, 2007 revision, blah, 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 are rules that apply to any documented credit. Are rules that applies to any documentary credit. एक दिन हमने ICC publication number 600, UCP 600. So when we open LCs under SWIFT, when we use SWIFT under field 40E, under applicable rules, we have to mention UCP latest version. Or sometimes we say this credit is subject to UCP 600. Or this credit is subject to the Uniform Customs and Practice for Documented Credits 2007 revision, ICC publication number 600. All three formats we can put, right? But most of the banks, when we open SWIFT under MT 700, when we open SWIFT under MT 700, under 40E, eka default ela batena applicable rules UCP latest revision, latest version can UCP 600, right? You have to mention that. Then under Article 1, there's another one. It says examples of an exclusion or modification to a rule. Right? Make a key to the extent to which they may be applicable. Right? To the extent to which they may be applicable. Any standby letter of credit, when the text of the credit expressly indicates that it is subject to these rules, they are binding on all parties. They are binding all parties. They are to, unless expressly modified or excluded by the credit. Unless expressly modified or excluded by the credit. Right? So normally the examples are, when we open, when we open revolving LCs, can you remember I have mentioned that you have to exclude Article 32. You have to exclude Article 32. Article 32 කියන්නේ
Standby
installment drawings or shipments. Article 32, installment drawings or shipments. Right? මම examples කිව්වා dispatches මේ මාසෙ මෙච්චරයි අපි කොහොමද එන්නේ ඒක අපි අයින් කරන්න ඕන exclude කරන්න ඕන when we open revolving LCs because under revolving LCs it is acceptable situation. So if you say if you start the LC at the 40E applicable rules UCP latest version, that means even Article 32 is applicable. Even Article 32 is applicable. But if you are opening a revolving LC, then you have to specifically mention Article 32. This credit remains contrary to Article 32 of the UCP. This credit remains valid for subsequent installments. Blah blah blah. Right? Or sometimes he will say sub-article 28C does not apply. What is 28C? අතේ තියෙනවා නම් UCP එක පෙරලලා බලන්න අර මේක තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳම දේ 28C under insurance cover notes will not be accepted. Under insurance cover notes will not be accepted. So if you are accepting the cover notes, then you have to say you are starting with UCP latest version, but you have to mention the modification or exclusion sub-article 28C does not apply. You got my point? Hello, crowd. No feedback. ඔක්කොම නිකන් බය වෙලා වගේ. තාම බය වෙන්න උනේ නැහැ. Right? So now if there's any modification or exclusion, then this is how we have to put. Or you can say documents must not be dated earlier than the date of the issuance of this credit. The documents can be dated earlier than the date of the issuance of the credit. It can be done. But if you want to put a modification, specifically, you can say documents must not be dated earlier than the date of the issuance of this credit. Right? ඒක තියෙනවා. නැත්තම් මේ සමහර අය ඉන්නවා ඔය shipment එක එන්න කිට්ටු කරලා තමයි LC කරලා තල්ලු කරන්නේ.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Why can't we take the cover note?
Why can't we take the cover note? If cover note is valid for how many days?
Maybe 15 days, 30 days?
14 days.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Some insurance companies are issuing for 30 days. Sometimes.
But as a practice, as per the Article 28C, the banks will never accept cover notes because the shipment itself will it can be dragged more than 1 month, right? That is one. And once you issue a cover note, the cover note is applicable only for that particular period. And suppose the applicant has not submitted the relevant insurance
documents
before the
insurance company.
Then the insurance company will wash their hands.
Company issues the yes.
Yeah, and the bank has given an irrevocable undertaking to pay. And if something happened, bank will not get a cent, but bank have to pay. Most of the customers, they join with the seller and play out the bank. That is why, since we are giving an undertaking, we should not, and we don't want to get into trouble. And cover notes are not applicable. Right? Exceptionally, if you are accepting, That is something the bank is taking the risk. And I know for certain customers, without having the insurance, the bank will open the LCs. That is the bank risk. But Incoterms 2020 it is not the responsibility of either the buyer or the seller taking the insurance. Right? Then I go the responsibility. If the bank is opening an LC, then it's our responsibility. We'll have to make sure that we are covered. Right? Okay. Article 2. Article 2 talks about the definitions. Earlier in the, now see how the articles from the article used to be 500 used to be 500. It's a part of Article 2, 7, 8, 2, 7, 9, and 10. There were certain definitions here and there. Now 600 again is more methodical. They put everything under Article 2. There we discuss about the advising bank, the applicant, banking days, beneficiary, compliant presentation, confirmation, confirming bank, credit, honor, issuing bank, negotiation, nominated bank. You can see Article 2. Under each sub-article, we have descriptive details given, uncertain definitions, right? Article 2, banking day. Banking day is day on which a bank is regularly open for performance of an act subject to these rules. Now, for example, are there anybody in Sampath Bank?
Yes.
Yeah. Your what do you call that branches? Super grade,
Super branches.
Super branches.
Super branch.
They are open on Saturday, even on Sunday.
Yes.
24.
No, 7 days.
7 days. All 7. Yeah, all 7 days. They are open. Right? For Sampath Bank, are we taking Saturday as a banking day or not? I'm talking about trade finance.
No.
No. Because Sampath Bank trade finance is not working on Saturday. They are closed. But their super branches are open. That's a different thing. Right? Or mix කරගන්න එපා. දැන් සම්පත් බැංක් එක්කන ආන්සර් කරනකොට කියන මාර කතාවක් නේ සර් කියන්නේ. අපි බැංක් එක කරලා. But we are talking about the normal, regularly open for performance. Right? Okay. Then Article 2, another one, compliant presentation. The compliant presentation means in accordance with terms and conditions of the credit, applicable UCB provisions, and international standard banking practice. What is international standard banking practice? My presentation from 2012 I am doing DIT. I have not done with the previous classes. Right? My first time try out because I feel all this time I had direct face-to-face contacts. When you have face-to-face contact, we have discussed all these things. We have discussed with the class when you are having face-to-face eye contacts. Right? අපි මීට වැඩිය හරි ඇක්ටිව්ලි කතා කළා. දැන් මේ පාර දැන් නෑනේ. දකින්න දැකින්න තමයි මෙච්චර මාන්සෙලා. I said I have spent more than 25-30 hours on this. Thanks to in some areas I got. I'm not a good, very good IT guy. I don't know how to do these things, right? Kavindra of IBSL, he helped me a lot, right, to do these things, right? So ඒවා කරලා තමයි මේක ගත්තේ මේක. ඒකෙන්ද මම මෙච්චර මහන්සි වෙනවා නම් ඔබට මාත් එක්ක මේවට මේ වෙන්න ඕන. And the other thing, I'm doing another very important session with you guys, that is document checking. ඒකට නම් document checking part එකට නම් COVID ඉවර වෙන්නම ඕන. Last time also, even though we have not done the exam, document checking part එක අපි physically I managed to finish it in 3 days time, 3 classes. After that, they again impose this travel restrictions. අපි නූලින් පැන්නේ. මේක නම් over online you can't teach, right? But whatever I'm going to discuss with you today is very, very important when we are going to do the document checking part. I don't know whether we can meet you physically or not. That is why I am getting ready with all the worst case scenarios, right? All the worst case scenarios I am getting ready. Please join with me, discuss with me. If you have any issues, sort it out, right? International Standard Banking Practice, that is referring to ISBP, which we are going to discuss. ISBP එක මම discuss කරන්න යනවා ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක. ඒක නම් online කරන්න වෙයි අපිට මට පේන විදිහට. ISBP 725 එක අපිට 7 ඒක අපිට වෙනම කරන්න වෙනවා. International Standard Banking Practice is only a guideline for document checkers and not a rule. And you can't, if you check when you are checking the documents, when you see certain discrepancies, you can quote UCP. You can quote UCP articles because that's a rule. ISBP is not a rule. It is only a guideline. Therefore, we never quote ISBP articles. We should not quote ISBP articles. But when you are replying a certain Swift message or whatever, you can refer to ISBP and get the information and draft the answer accordingly without saying as per ISBP. As per ISBP can Nokia, ISBP ke articles ටික අරගෙන articles එක අපේකට කියන්නේ paras කියලා කියන්නේ ISBP එකේ ඒ paras ටික අපි දාලා ඒකෙන් idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? As per the standard banking practice, this should be කියලා අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන්. But you can't say as per para 28 කියලා කියන්න බෑ. You understand? But UCP, yes, because it's a rule. Honor, Article 2, honor. For credit available by, I mean, make a product Article 2 එක කියවන්න බලන්න මේ honor කියන එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගාව තියෙනවනේ. Honor means Article 2. I'm reading from Article 2 definitions. Honor means A, to pay at site if the credit is available by site payment. Right? B, to incur a deferred payment undertaking and pay at maturity if the credit is available by deferred payment. C. To accept a bill of exchange or a draft drawn by the beneficiary and pay at maturity if the credit is available by acceptance. That is honor. Now, that particular one, rather than reading, now it's easy for you to understand when you see the this presentation. For credit available, if it is available by site, means pay at site. Deferred payment, incur deferred payment undertaking, pay at maturity. Acceptance, accept bill of exchange and pay at maturity. මේක ලේසි නේද? මේක ඉතල බැලුවාම article 2 එක උගන්ට ලේසියෙන්ම you can understand. Negotiation means purchase by the nominated bank of drafts drawn on another bank and not documents under a compliant presentation. Purchase by the nominated bank of drafts drawn on another bank and not documents under a compliant presentation. Right? If it is, if the documents are complied with the terms and conditions of the LC, the nominated bank can negotiate. That means they can give value to the beneficiary. Right? Or by advancing or agreeing to advance funds to beneficiary. Agreeing to advance funds from funds to beneficiary. One hour before the banking day on which reimbursement is due to the nominated bank. Right? By advancing or agreeing. If it is a accepted, usance documents. Usance documents. Usance documents, yeah, you are going to, you will get the money only after 3 months period. Only after 3 months period. Right? Your reimbursement is due up to the nominated bank after 3 months. But if the documents are complied with terms and conditions, either you can advance or you can agree to advance the funds to the beneficiary. Right? One is advancing funds. Advancing funds can, you are prepared to advance the money immediately. But you will get the money only after, reimbursement will be after 90 days. Right? Or agreeing to advance the funds. You can say the customer, once you send the documents to the issuing bank, once the issuing bank accept the draft bill of exchange and inform the nominated bank, the documents have been accepted, bill of exchange has been accepted to pay on such and such a date. So you can easily, you can say to your customer, once you receive the accepted bill of exchange, we will pay you. We will advance the money to you. Then you are 100% sure the issuing bank will send you the money on the 90th day. Right? Because draft has been accepted. Bill of exchange has been accepted. Right? Whether the applicant pays or not, they will get the money. The issuing bank will pay. Any questions on that? I think you should have some questions. Now,
so even if we take a cash margin, let's say for the customer does not have a advance document limit at the moment, sir, under the bank. So we place a cash margin. Now that's a 300% liability on the bank, no, sir. So we wait.
Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Why we are taking 300% liability?
because we are liable to pay it after the due date.
Why should we take 300% margin? After the due date, we are liable to pay the amount, bill amount. Right?
If yeah.
If the customer is having 300% cash margin, why should he ask for a discounting of the bill? Paudi. Yeah, 300% තියලා මේ ඒකේ 1/3 ගන්න ඕනේ. Customer වැඩක් නැහැ.
Yeah.
Now here I am talking without keeping any cash margin.
Okay.
Without keeping any cash margin to the, and here we are talking about the beneficiary. Right?
Okay.
About the beneficiary. You got my point?
Yeah.
ඔයාට mix up කරගත්තේ හිතනද 300% ආවේ කොහෙද? Import එක පැත්තෙන් if we receive the shipment without the original document, then we have to take 300% cash margin, and then our liability, we have to create a liability of 300% and release, obtain the goods on a shipping guarantee.
Yeah. And you're talking about the beneficiary, right?
I am talking about the beneficiary.
All right.
Negotiation means beneficiary. මට මතකද මගේ අර සයිකල් එකේ අපෝ බලන්න මේක මම හරිම ආසයි. ඔයගේ තමයි questions අහන්න ඕනේ. අනිත් questions හිතේ තියන් ඉන්නවා. Right? මේක මම when I joined HSBC from Standard Chartered මම ඉන්න කාලේ මම රයිට් කළා. And HSBC also I introduced the same best practice which I practice at SEB, advancing or agreeing to advance funds to beneficiary. ලංකාවේ ලේසි. ලංකාවේ මට මේක ප්‍රොමෝට් කරන්න ලේසි. ලංකාවේ කස්ටමර්ස් වල අතේ සතේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ බලන් ඉන්න කොහෙන්ද සල්ලි ටිකක් හම්බෙන්නේ කියලා. But in Dubai, they are cash rich. Right? They don't want money. ඉතින් මම මේක කස්ටමර්ස් වලට බලෙන් දාන්න ගියා. මම කිව්වේ negotiation. I'll give you the money immediately. Right? Right. Okay. Like බාරගත්තා. Then 90 days usance bill. 90 days usance bill. Once they accept the bill, once we receive the SWIFT confirmation from the issuing bank, why should I wait for 90 days rather than doing anything? So I go behind the customers and I tell them, why not? I will advance funds to you. You don't have to wait till 90 days. I will advance funds. Right? Because I have an irrevocable undertaking by the issuing bank that they will pay me on the 90th day. මට තියෙන බැංක් එකේ බැංක් රිස්ක් එකයි country රිස්ක් එකයි බලන්න. ඔන්න මේ දවස්වල නම් ඔන්න මේ සම්පත් බැංක් NDB කොමර්ෂල් තියම් කොහෙන් ආවත් අපි අත තියන්නේ නැහැ. මම ඩුබායි හිටියා නම් මම අත තියන්නේ නැහැ ලංකාවට. Right? 90th day සල්ලි ඒ වයිදෙන් දීලා මට ෂුවර් නැහැ. Because of the situation. But Sudhi has explained, right? We are not sure. There's a country risk. Commercial bank, super, good bank. Sampak, good. NDB, good, right? SCB, international bank. HSBC, international bank. But you both are governed by regulations of central bank here in Sri Lanka, SCB as well as HSBC. So when it comes to the banks, the definition of banks under you see under trade finance, a bank, the same bank in two countries are classified as two different banks. Two different banks. SCB Colombo and SCB Dubai are two different banks. Right? ඔගලන්ගේ HSBC Colombo and HSBC Dubai, two different banks. FIM එකේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Same bank. We are branches. All gone. Right? Two different banks. So we have to take the countries. If the country is the normal environment, the country risk is good, if the bank risk is good, I will go behind the customer and discount the bill and give it to them. Because until 90th day, I can earn some interest from the customer. By advancing the money, I can earn some interest for at least for 50 days. Interest ගන්න පුළුවන්. Document එක ගිහලා accept කරලා එන්න දවස් 10ක් යනකම් මට 50 days වලට these bills are massive, right? I can earn good profit. Those are the things you have to see. Go behind the customers. Sometimes the customers are not aware of the thing. Tell them. You don't have to go behind banks. Right? You don't have to go behind banks to cover your cash flow issues. Yeah, I'm giving you the money immediately. Right? Once you sell the goods, pay me. Maybe discount කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් අරයාගේ සල්ලි එනවා. 90th day එකේ සල්ලි එනවා. Right? ඒකින්ද for at least for 75 days, I can earn some interest. At least for 75 days, I can earn clean interest. Right? This is the way you have to think, and this is the way you can improve the income of your departments. Any questions? Okay. Then nominated bank. Nominated bank. A nominated bank, the bank with which the credit is available, or any bank in the case of a freely available credit. The credit in the sense letter of credit. Always the credit means letter of credit, LC. If the LC is available with any bank, then that means it's freely available credit. You can go to any bank and negotiate the bill. If it is if a bank is nominated, if we are nominated, if the importer is the exporter is in Colombo, they have nominated in the LC, they have received the nominated bank as the Sampath Bank. Sampath Bank is advising bank as well as a nominated bank. SCB, we say National Bank of Dubai. National Bank of Dubai has opened the LC, and send it to Sampath Bank, Colombo. Advised through Sampath Bank, Colombo. And in the LC, they have nominated Sampath Bank as the negotiating bank. They have nominated Sampath Bank to negotiate. Right? If they say, then in a scenario like that, the beneficiary has to give the documents to Sampath Bank, because Sampath Bank has been the nominated bank. Right? If it is available with any bank, then the beneficiary, the exporter, if you say Haley's Haycarb is the customer. They are exporters, Haycarb. So Haycarb can go to any bank, either NDB, SCB, Cargill's Bank, or whatever bank, and negotiate documents. no need to go to Sampath Bank. They can go to any bank. Right? Freely available credit. Issuing bank, when they issue the LC, they advise the advising bank. They send it to advising bank. Advising bank will advise the beneficiary. Right? Then, if it is freely available, okay, if it is a nominated, if they have nominated Sampath Bank as a nominated bank, then they have to bring the documents to the Sampath Bank, restricted bank. And it is, that bank is named in the LC. Otherwise, the beneficiary can go to any bank. LC available with any bank is nominated bank. Any bank is nominated bank. Right? Any bank is a nominated bank. Any questions? Any questions? Because I'm going to ask you questions.
So, excuse me. Then, how are we supposed to know whether this LC is an authenticated LC or not? If the LC is available with any bank, assume we are as to commercial bank, a customer is coming with the document and the original LC saying that he wants to negotiate the documents with us. So, what is our position, sir, in this regard?
Right. Is that Shavindri?
Sanita, sir.
Sanita, you ask in your question, there are two parts. How do we know whether it is authenticated? That is one of your questions.
Yes, sir.
Right. How do we know? Who has got the LC? Who was the advising bank? Give some example. I mean, antikakku the LC irundan. Advising bank.
Say the advising bank is Sampath Bank.
Advising bank is Sampath Bank.
Yeah.
Now, when Sampath Bank has received the LC and they have advised the LC to the beneficiary. Right? Advised the LC to the beneficiary, per and sons. Okay. Now, Sampath Bank, when they advise the LC, what is the number one? First step they check.
Whether this LC is an authenticated one or not.
Right. Super. Now I have answered your question part one. Because advising bank's responsibility is to ensure that it is an authenticated LC. Because it is coming through MT700, automatic authenticated, so you don't have to worry, and it is a authenticated one, right? Then your question is, the beneficiary has accounts with Commercial Bank, NDB Bank, and Bank of Slough. And the LC is available with any bank. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. If it is available with any bank. So he goes to one of his preferred banks, Bank of Slough. Now, then your question was, how Bank of Slough know that it's an authenticated trace?
Yes, sir.
Right? When the advising bank advise LC, අපි මොකද ගහන්නේ? අපි ගහනවා නේද rubber stamp එකක්. අපි rubber stamp එකක් ගහනවා නේද? We advise this authenticated LC without any responsibility on our part. We advise this authenticated LC. We advise this unauthenticated LC කියලා ගෙවුවොත් එහෙම it is unauthenticated. Unauthenticated, normally advising bank will not advise at all. They can go back to the, as per the advising bank's responsibility, they can go back to the issuing bank saying that we are not going to advise, it's unauthenticated. Never went in. So අපන LC එකේ original LC එකේ ගහනම තියෙනවා. beneficiary එකේ original copy එකේ. This authenticated LC. Sampath Bank has authenticated LC and advised to the beneficiary. So Bank of Sri Lanka knows that this is an authenticated LC. That's it. Then they will negotiate. They can negotiate because LC is freely available with any bank. So they can, any bank is a nominated bank. Any more questions on that? Right. In that case, Shanita, I'll ask you one question. Not only from Shanita, to the forum. I'm putting this to the forum. LC is restricted to commercial bank. LC is restricted to commercial bank. The beneficiary, without going to the nominated bank, is commercial bank. It's restricted to nominated bank. But they have taken, beneficiary has taken some loans, pre-shipment loans from the nominated bank, commercial bank, and they have to pay the loans from the proceeds of this particular LC. Now they are in a bit of a cash flow issue problem. Because of that, they don't want to go to commercial bank. They know that if we go to commercial bank, then they will recover the money they are outstanding before they give the money to us. That's a normal way. Instead of going to commercial bank, the nominated bank or the restricted bank, he goes to Bank of Sri Lanka and asks them to negotiate. Can they do it? This is, they have nominated commercial bank as a bank and it is restricted, LC is restricted to, negotiation is restricted to commercial bank. Can they bypass commercial bank and go to Bank of Sri Lanka and get it negotiated? What the question I make? මේක සාමාන්‍ය ළමයින්ගේ මම අහන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගලගෙන් අහන්න ඕන. ඔයගොල්ලෝ DIT. I need answers.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Who is that?
Kevin, sir.
You can. How? You're restricted now. It is restricted now.
The customer can change the
No.
bank.
You can't change the bank. It's an irrevocable LC. Irrevocable means it cannot be amended or changed without the consent of all parties concerned.
We can't, sir.
They can't. Who's that?
Brightney.
Brightney. Same bank. No, new fight taker. No bank where fight taker.
According to Article 8, when nominated bank undertakes it, it has to pay, negotiate.
Yes. Okay. But the customer bypass nominated bank. They don't want to go to commercial bank, restricted bank, because commercial bank is waiting to get the documents. Right?
So can be done like through a LC amendment?
Amendment.
LC amendment එකක් නැතුව මම කියන්නේ. LC amendment එකක් આવුද negotiation restricted කියන එක any bank එකලා LC amendment එකක් කරන් කරනවා. මෙහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. මේ beneficiary මේ හොර වැඩක් කරන්න. Can he do it? මේවා වෙනවා. මම ඒකයි
We can accept. We can accept, but negotiate the document.
They can
accept the documents, but we can't negotiate it.
Who is that? Who is that?
Vinod.
Vinod.
Yeah, Vinod.
Vinod. Oh. The accept line වැඩක් තියනවාද? ඔය විනෝද්ගේ කතාවේ 50-50 කරකවලා ඉන්න තව පොඩ්ඩක් අපි ඔය ආන්සර් එක හදමු. He can go with the beneficiary. පරක් වෙනින්ද මම කියනවා beneficiary can go bypassing that, but it is restricted. But the nominated bank, if the bank of Ceylon is going to negotiate the documents, they are the number one fools, right? Because they will not get the cover under UCP 600 when negotiating, when the LC is restricted to a nominated bank, right? But having said that, Bank of Ceylon can accept the documents and without negotiating, right? Negotiating means without giving value to the beneficiary, they can send the documents to the issuing bank. Anyway, who is the ultimate paying bank? In the entire scenario, who is the ultimate paying bank? Ultimate paying bank is the issuing bank. But a curriculum end on issuing bank is issuing bank applicant against salary and issuing bank salary neither. So ultimate paying bank is the issuing bank. So issuing bank will pay. Issuing bank doesn't quote it as a discrepancy. When then again, if the documents are clean, if the documents are without any discrepancy, they will pay to the bank who has sent the documents to them, to the Bank of Ceylon, right? But if Bank of Ceylon has gone to negotiate the documents and given the value to the beneficiary, and if the issuing bank reject the documents, later if they are going to argue and all those things, they don't have a proper ground because they have the first step, they have done a wrong thing, unethical thing of negotiating somebody else's document. So they don't stand in a proper grounds to argue. Then ek allagena issuing bank එකක් වුණා හලිනු දිය තේිනා පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් කේස් එක. අර බලන්න ලොකුට argue කරන්න බෑ. If they have not been nominated to negotiate, then how the hell if you are negotiated, that's your baby. You collect it from the beneficiary. Finish. Issuing bank is not responsible. If the documents are clean only, they will send the money, right? But the beneficiary can send the documents through Bank of Ceylon. They said, okay, once you get the money, give us. It can happen. මේ වගේ දේවල් වෙනවා because some bad customers, right? All these culprits, what they do is when they receive the LC, against the LC, they get pre-shipment advances from the nominated bank and spend that money, and now they have other cash flow issues. Then now they know once they give the documents, the money will come to the nominated bank, and before they give the money to the beneficiary, they will recover their outstanding. ඒක කරන්න තමයි අතන්ට යන්නේ. හොරෙන් ගිහිල්ලා Bank of Ceylon එකට දෙනවා. මේ වගේ දේක් මාකට් එකේ වැඩි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි හොඳට කරන්න හොඳ අනුන්ගේ business අපි කතා ගන්න හොඳ නැහැ. Right? Please don't think that Bank of Ceylon is doing these things. Just examples, right? එතකොට උගලට දැන් තේරෙනවා කමර්ෂියල් බැංක් හවුස් කරන ආරම්භ කියලා. ඉතින් අපි මේක කරලා අපි පුළුවන් තරම් හරි දේ කරන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි කරන්න බැරි නෑ. But not negotiation. We can send the documents to the issuing bank. Once you receive the money, you will give it to the beneficiary. Right? Okay. Any questions on that? Tirana kyan? May honda arguments of granted. What do you think about these discussions? Is very profitable for you guys, I hope. Right? A presentation. Delivery of documents to issuing bank or nominated bank, or the documents so delivered is we call presentation. The presenter is the party that makes a presentation. The beneficiary is a presenter. He presents the documents to the nominated bank. Right? The nominated bank will go through the documents and then they present the documents to the issuing bank. At that particular point, nominated bank will become a presenter. It is clear, no? The make ඔයගලන්ට අර ආටිකල් එක කිව්වොත් තේරුම් ගන්න අමාරුයි. දැන් ඔයගලන්ට හොඳටම තේරෙනවා. Where applicable, words in the singular include the plural and vice versa. Right? No more errors. Document instead of documents. If you have sent a bunch of documents, right? A pile of documents, documents එක 10 15ක් වල යවනවා. හැබැයි mention කරලා තියෙන document. Document is singular instead of documents. No issue, huh? Those are not discrepancies. The vice versa. A credit is irrevocable even if no indication to that effect. No need, and if you open the LCs under MT700, it is an irrevocable LC. Even though the word irrevocable is not there, we treat it as irrevocable. That's the practice. Then for determining maturity date. In determining maturity date, the words from and after exclude the date mentioned. Exclude the date mentioned. Right? It says 30 days from shipment date. 30 days from shipment date is similar to 30 days after shipment date. Right? They come up samana. Right? If the shipment date is 1st August, if the shipment date is 1st August 2007, right? 30 days from shipment date, අපි counting පටන් ගන්නේ exclude the date mentioned. Shipment date is 1st August. Then the maturity date, for calculation of maturity date, the countdown starts from excluding the date mentioned. In 2nd August, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 30 days at Karangyama, maturity date is 31st August 2007. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are getting these things practically when you are handling bills, huh? In a handling bills, you get these things. If the words from and after are same meaning, and that is exclude the date mentioned. For determining a period of shipment, that is for determining the maturity date. Determining the maturity date. But determining a period of shipment, the words from and after have different meanings. Again, maturity date, right? But if it is to determine a period of shipment, then the words from and after have different meanings for a shipment. Don't mix up, right? From includes the date mentioned, and after exclude the date mentioned. That is for shipment, not for payment. Right? Shipment to be effected from August 10th. From August 10th. Right? From August 10th, from includes the date mentioned. Shipment to be effected from August 10th. The earliest shipment date is August 10th. It includes the date mentioned. Shipment to be effected after August 10th. After August 10th, then the earliest shipment date is August 11th. Any questions? Any questions? මෙතින්දී දෙකක් තියෙනවා. මේක වරද්ද ගන්න එපා. This is for determining the maturity date. From and after, both exclude the date mentioned. But when it's for shipment period, then from includes the date mentioned and after exclude the date mentioned. Article 4. Credit versus contract. Credit versus contract. Independence principle. We call it independence principle in the LCs. Right? Well, LC is independent from the documents. Right? The independent principle. LC is a separate transaction from the underlying contract. Sorry, LC is different from the documents. Documents from the contract. LC is a separate transaction from the underlying contract. Right? Article 4 again, credit versus contract. Two different things. Banks should discourage any attempt to include contract as an integral part of LC. Banks should discourage any attempt to include contract as integral part of LC. But we have nothing to do. Some other customers are not saying, right? LC ke deno clause ka LC ka clause deno details as per contract number 123, which is appended and forms an integral part of the credit. Don't do it. This is a paramount important. Right? Don't do it. You're discouraged. You have to say no. Right? Customers say no. Article 5. Documents versus goods, services, and performance. Article 5. Documents versus goods, services, and performance. Right? Banks deal with documents and not with goods, services, or performance to which the documents may relate. right? මේකම තිබ්බා මේක article 5 එකේ නෝ UCP 600 එකේ UCP 500 එකේ article 4 එකේ මේක තිබුණා වෙනත් විදිහකට in credit operations all parties concerned deal with documents and not with goods services and no other performance to which the documentary may relate, right? එන හැල්ලක් තිබුණා. දැන් මේක අඩු කරලා ගත්තා. all parties concerned කියන එක අපි ගත්තා shorten කරලා banks කියලා. So as a bank we deal only with documents and not with goods, right? Article 6, availability, expiry date, and place for presentation. Right? UCP 500 again, Article 42 and part of Article 9, A, B, and 10, comma. Again, there are 49 Articles 39 only, right? Availability, expiry date, and place for presentation. LC must state the bank with which it is available, or that is available with any bank, available with nominated bank, also available with the issuing bank. Even if it is available with nominated bank, it is available with issuing bank because issuing bank is the ultimate paying bank, right? State that it is available by side payment, deferred payment, acceptance, or negotiation, right? State that it is available by side payment, deferred payment, or acceptance, or negotiation. Not be available by draft on applicant. For examples, available with issuing bank by deferred payment. Available with issuing bank by deferred payment. Or available with bank XYZ by payment. So they can do the payment now. Available with any bank by negotiation. So availability is like that. Now the expiry date. Here we talk about the availability, expiry date, and the place of payment. Right? Expiry date. Last date for presentation of documents. Expiry date means, LC expiry date means last day for presentation of documents. Place for presentation means bank with which the LC is available, or any bank if the LC is available with any bank, and also issuing bank. In some LCs they say available with issuing bank. So sorry, place of presentation, issuing bank, right? Or they will say place of presentation with nominated bank, right? LC available with any bank, place for presentation is either any bank or issuing bank, either any bank or issuing bank. If the LC is available with bank XYZ, now it is restricted to XYZ. Then the place for presentation is bank XYZ or issuing bank. Issuing bank is common to everybody because they are the ultimate paying bank. Any questions on that? Right. Issuing bank undertaking. Issuing bank undertaking. Now, Puduan Tarang Karanang, we are now gradually my voice is getting strained now. Uninterrupted talking for 4 hours, and I blame you guys because you are not answering the questions. එහෙමනම් මට පොඩි බ්‍රේක් එකක් එනවා. ඉන්නේ නැහනේ. සර්වම මරන් ගන්න ඉන්නේ. හොඳ නෑනේ. ඒකින්ද පොඩ්ඩක් ක්වෙස්චන් එක වම ආන්සර් කරන්න. ඒ පොඩ්ඩ මම අහගෙන ඉන්නවනේ. That's a break for me. Article 7, issuing bank undertaking. Please read Article 7, right? Now you are having this presentation. Before you come next week, right? First you read Article 1 to 7 or 8 or 9, wherever I'm stopping today, and then refer to these presentations. Then you will get it into your head, and that's it. You don't have to worry about UCP 600. You take my word. After that, what you have to do is you can read, get ready with the other remaining ones, and yeah, we can discuss next week and come with all sort of questions. Department එකේ යාළුවන්ගේ තව තියෙන questions ඒවත් අදගෙන ඇවිල්ලා අපි කතා කරමු. On a compliant presentation made to nominated bank or to issuing bank itself, issuing bank's undertaking, right? If we have nominated a bank, if it's a compliant presentation, then it is up to us as the issuing bank to pay, or as the issuing bank itself, we have to pay. If the nominated bank has not paid, issuing bank has to pay, right? Make a put up balloon and a LC available with bank extra, right? LC available with bank XYZ, right? Then who has to pay? Bank XYZ has to pay. But if they have not paid, the issuing bank has to pay. They can't wash their hands for not paying. They have to pay. If the documents are clean, they have to pay, right? Reimburse nominated bank that has honored, negotiated, and forwarded compliant documents to issuing bank, right? Reimburse nominated bank that has honored, negotiated, and forwarded compliant documents to the issuing bank. We are going to discuss about the reimbursing bank also, or we have discussed earlier. Now we are going to reiterate. If there's a reimbursement, the nominated bank can call the money from the reimbursing bank, right? Or else, if they are not claiming, then ultimately the issuing bank is the reimbursing bank. Irrevocably bound as of the time LC is issued. Issuing bank is irrevocably bound as of the time LC is issued. That is one of the very important undertaking by the issuing bank. For users LCs, reimbursement is due at maturity or deferred payment undertaking or acceptance, whether or not nominated bank prepaid or purchased before a maturity. Right? Whether or not the nominated bank prepaid or purchased before maturity. The nominated bank can prepay or purchase. Can I remember earlier also I told you what I have done with the beneficiaries, right? When as a nominated bank, once we receive the acceptance from the issuing bank, I will discount the bill and pay the beneficiary, right? So here what says, for use and LCs, reimbursement is due at maturity or deferred payment undertaking or acceptance, whether or not nominated bank prepaid or purchased before maturity, they have to pay, right? For the chart date LC issued, right? From that particular date, issuing bank is irrevocably bound as of this date under the LC terms. Then the documents are presented and documents are accepted by the issuing bank. Then on the maturity, due for reimbursement, right? The issuing bank's undertaking to reimburse nominated bank is independent of its undertaking to the beneficiary. Issuing bank's undertaking to reimburse nominated bank is independent of its undertaking to beneficiary. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? The last point. Got that? Can somebody elaborate on that?
So it says whenever a issuing bank issues a LC, it undertakes to do the payment to the beneficiary disregarding.
No. You have made a big mistake there. When the issuing bank undertakes, when the issuing bank issued a LC, they give an irrevocable undertaking to the reimburse the nominated bank, right? Reimburse the nominated bank. So it's a difference. It's independent of its undertaking to the beneficiary. Then nominated bank has some undertaking to the beneficiary. If the documents are clean, then they have to negotiate, right? That's a different thing. Here, the issuing bank undertaking to reimburse nominated bank is independent. Right? That is the main reason. Number 8, confirming bank. Why we are confirming the LCs? Because if there's a country risk or bank risk, then we are asking for confirming LCs. Confirmation to be added. Nowadays, most of our LCs, the advising banks, they are asking for confirmation. When you open the LCs and send it to other countries, the advising banks are asking to confirm the LC, and they are charging a hell of a lot of money because our credit rating has come down. More risky because payments and with them. Then confirming bank, and when I discussed about the confirmation, I told you when you open the LC and when you ask for after adding confirmation, the confirming bank is going to be inside the same shoes of issuing bank. Issuing bank responsibilities and obligations are almost. So even the confirming bank has the honor of undertaking to honor compliance negotiate without recourse.
No.
Negotiate without recourse. Once they negotiate, they will negotiate without recourse. That means they don't have to recall the money from the beneficiary. Right? Reimburse nominated bank that has honored, negotiated, and forwarded compliant documents to confirming bank. Right? Irrevocably bound as of the time of confirmation. Previously, when you issue a LC, issuing bank is irrevocably bound as of the time of issuance of the LC. Here, that's very much similar to that. Irrevocably bound as of the time of confirmation. As of the time you had confirmation, you are irrevocably bound. Right? For use and LCs, reimbursement is due at maturity of deferred payment, undertaking, or acceptance, whether or not nominated bank prepaid or just before maturity. Very much similar to same bank. Man, previous for use and LCs, මං මේ එකම සපත්තුවේ තියෙන එක දාන්න දෙයක් නැහැ නේ. Undertakings, එකම undertakings තමයි එන්නේ. Right? Then date LC confirmed from that particular time, it's irrevocably bound as of this date. මේක නිතරම එන question එක. From when it is bound. They are irrevocably bound as of the date they confirm the LC. Documents presented, then documents accepted on maturity due for reimbursement. Confirming banks undertaken to reimburse nominated bank is independent of its undertaking to beneficiary. අර වගේම තමයි. Article 9, advising of credit and amendments. By advising an LC, the advising bank signifies it's without any undertaking to honor or negotiate. Advising bank signifies they will advise LC without any undertaking to honor or negotiate. They don't take any responsibility. It has satisfied itself as to the apparent authenticity of the LC or amendment. Shanita, have I answered your question once again?
Yes, sir.
Right? Article 9 එකේ තමයි ඒක එන්නේ. Right? It has satisfied itself as to the apparent authenticity of the LCR amendment. Otherwise, they will not. The advice accurately reflects the LC's terms and conditions. Right? Even though we say advising bank is doing a post office job as a prudent bank, we just go through the LC and advise in a gray areas to the beneficiary, because beneficiary is my customer. It is my duty to look after my customer. That's good bank customer relationship. Forget about the UCP, right? An advising bank may utilize the services of another bank to advise the second advising bank. Second advising bank here, right? Then, for example, when we initially started the Cargill's Bank business, Cargill's Bank was unknown to the international market, right? So they used to send the LCs to Commercial Bank and Ceylon Bank for them to advise to us. So Cargill's Bank was the second advising bank. But those people will send the LCs direct to Commercial Law Ceylon. Right? When you are sending also, it was like that. And first 3 months from 2014, first 6 months, okay, until we get stabilized with agency arrangements and all, Commercial Bank, Standard Chartered, and Sila. They all helped me a lot, right? Because Commercial Bank, I had a lot of contacts with Commercial and Ceylon, and most of my students and all. And then Standard Chartered, of course, my old bank. So when I asked their support, they willingly supported me, right? හැබැයි අර බෑන්ක්ස් දෙකම මට නිකන් කළා ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් චාර්ටර්ඩ් එකෙන් නම් ගැව්වා මාර ගෙහිලා charges එවි මට හොඳට ගැව්වා තාමත් එහෙමයි නේ මට තාම මතකයි commercial and Ceylon they didn't charge me they were giving a helping hand Standard Chartered also gave a helping hand but the charges were a little bit high, but nevertheless, we managed to do the research. Article 10 amendments. We maintain not the Article 10 again. Make a patanga to make a what I current up to now. Do you have any? Can you write down where I have stopped? Then you can remind me. UCP 600 up to Article 9, Article 10 to start. Article 10 to start, right? Any questions? And then I think you must be happy to have these discussions rather than learning the thing on your own. But now you can do it better. So this week is going to be a little bit hectic to you, despite your bank work, right? You have 10 case studies to do for URC 522, and then you are having this UCP 600 articles up to 9. Please read article by article and open up the presentation and then read it and then refer to the presentation, particular article. So it will be easy for you to understand. Once you finish, if you have time, Article 10 to 16 the make it, you know, right? Anitya Manta Mahadano, next week, another Mangaka, Ekadala 39. Right? Okay. I'm stopping this because I'm so tired. Any questions? Any questions? Right. Now we are having 25. I don't know why we had 37. After the break, 12 people are missing, but they don't understand why this is important. This is very, very important, these discussions, because you will be tested directly. 2 questions you will be tested, and when it comes to your document checking assignment, you need these articles very clearly, right? On top of that, trade finance means UCP and URC. If you are a trade practitioner, you have to be thorough with these articles, right? The bankers should learn that. So, what about you, a customer? Is it important to you?
Yes, sir. It's very important.
Very important, because when you're determining the dates to pay and all, then you should know about the UCP, right? And the LCs and all. The bank will tell you one day from after all those things, then you can go back and you can argue with the bank, right?
Yes.
And according to the articles, it should be, isn't it correct? Or is it wrong? Or is it correct? Or whatever, right? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you,
Then
sir.
I'll call it a day and stay safe. Wish you all the best, everybody.